Hey everybody, welcome back to The Way of Ramen. So we're on week 3 of lockdown here in Hawaii, but it's all good. My in-laws dropped off some KFC for dinner the other night, and that gave me an idea for a new series called Will It Ramen, where I try to make ramen with random ingredients. Turn the leftover KFCs into what's called a tori paitan style ramen. It actually was not terrible, so yeah, let's get right into it. So here are 2 pieces of chicken that were left over from the bucket of original recipe. I saved the rest of the bones, we ate the rest of the chicken, but I'm just gonna pull the meat off these 2 pieces and then I'm gonna add them to the rest of the bones that I had saved. So this style of ramen that I'm doing is called tori paitan. If you're new to ramen, there are 2 main classifications of soup. Chintan, which is like a clear soup, think like a consomme, and paitan, which is a thick and cloudy soup. The main idea for paitan soups is you're boiling the bones at a very aggressive rolling boil to emulsify the soup and thicken it with the fat and collagen from the bones. This usually takes a very long time, but if you're reusing bones, it cuts down the time that you need by quite a bit. I'm just gonna let this boil like this for 2 hours and I'm gonna top it off with water every time it looks like it's getting a little low to prevent burning. So what a lot of people call ramen broth is actually made of 3 things: the soup, which we're making from the bones, a tare, and aroma oil. The tare contains all the salt and most of the flavoring for the soup, and the aroma oil is used to add flavor and smell and coat the noodles as you eat them. So I'm using a tare and a fried onion oil from a previous tori paitan that I made. The video for the bowl is linked in the description below. As for noodles, I'm using the lockdown noodles I made in the last video. Not the best looking stuff, but they taste good and I'm not gonna waste them. Video for that in the description as well. I'm also going to try to do a quick Ajitama for this bowl. Carefully poke a small hole at the bottom of the egg and then lower it into a pot of boiling water. Boil the egg for 7 minutes. I messed up here and went for 6 minutes because I forgot that I wasn't going to let this cure in tare for 2 days. But anyways, after 7 minutes, get the egg out and into an ice bath and let it cool down. This is a quick Ajitama tare for 1 egg, 1/4 cup of water into a bowl, and a 1/4 cup of honsuyu. This is strong stuff, so you don't want to let the egg sit in this for too long. It can get kind of salty, but if you're going to eat this today, it's fine. Peel your egg and then wrap it in a paper towel. The paper towel is there to try to help the tare coat the whole egg. Then you're going to take that egg and put it into a small cup and pour the tare over that and let it soak like that for a few hours. With about 30 minutes left, I dropped in 2 cloves of garlic and some green onion into the soup. And after 2 hours, the soup had the right color, but it was still very thin. And this is because a lot of the collagen in the fat was already gone when the chicken was cooked the first time. So I decided to pull it here and strain it. I didn't want to waste more time for no results. Surprisingly, the soup tasted a lot better than I expected and pretty much tasted like a thin tori paitan, not really like KFC. So now that the soup is done, I'm gonna drop my noodles into boiling water. I undercooked these noodles in my lockdown ramen video pretty badly, but I did some testing and it seems around 8 minutes is the proper time for them. So while the noodles are cooking, I'm gonna drop 20 milliliters of tare into a heated bowl. 20 mils is less tare than I normally do, but paitans generally require less salt, and also KFC chicken is
marinated in MSG,
which also brings down the salt requirements. I also added 20 mils of the fried onion oil, and right before the noodles were done, I dropped in 300 mils of the KFC paitan soup. At 8 minutes, I strained the noodles and then added them to the bowl. For toppings, I heated up some chashu I had in my freezer and cut up my ajitama. This was only soaking in the tare for about an hour, but the egg had already started to change color and it had some flavor to it. The yolk was too runny, but I think some people like it like that, so not a complete fail. I finished with some green onions and 2 sheets of nori, and that is a bowl of KFC paitan ramen, perhaps the first ever made, well, at least outside of Japan, I think. So the most surprising thing about this bowl was how much it just tasted like a normal thin tori paitan ramen. I half expected it to taste like KFC original recipe, but the normalness of the flavor was surprising. I recently had a guest on my podcast named Kanda-san. He's an amateur ramen cook in Japan who won a ramen competition against professional chefs. And he explained to me that ramen restaurants will usually pack the tare full of flavor and umami to compensate for inconsistencies in the soup. So he recommended if you're doing ramen at home, try to focus on bringing the best quality ingredients to the soup and make the best quality soup possible, and then simplify the tare. But on the flip side, if you don't have access to high quality ingredients to make good soup, you can compensate for that by making a really high quality tare, just like a restaurant does. So this tare was pretty fancy, and it made the soup from leftover KFC bones taste like a normal ramen. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're making ramen at home. Anyways, I had a lot of fun with this challenge, and if you have any ideas for me of what I should try to make ramen out of next, please feel free to leave the suggestions in the comments below. As always, you can follow me on Instagram at WayofRamen, and feel free to join our ramen Discord server. There's a lot of really knowledgeable people in there who can give you tons of tips and advice on how to do everything just right. Link in the description below. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I really do appreciate all the support. I hope you're staying healthy and safe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.